Hey guys, I'm gonna start doing a video and teach you how to draw with shades of different colors and how to shade with them. Most people have been asking me on my Instagram how to do it, so I decided might as well do it now. Now what you want to start with is you have your different colors, as you can see. And with all different colors you want to choose from the lightest to the darkest. And you want to have them all drawn onto a different paper to see which shades is best to work with. Now with the picture we have here of Mario, he has a lot of red and then blue on his jacket, his shirt, and his pants together. His head and his shirt are red, while the gloves are white. So it's very simple. We only have three shades to work with. I wouldn't really count white as a shade, but the other shade we would count would be his skin tone, and which would be beige. More than that, that's simple. So what you want to do now is start with the main color you have, the base color as we would call it. Now the base color is going to be the first main color we're going to put on to the drawing. And we're going to look at a drawing that we have right now in front of our face. If we have a reference image, such as for Mario, it's very simple. Like I said, we have the red here. We're going to start that off. We're just going to color it all in until from here to here, it's all red. Now that we have the shade of our first layer all based in, what we're going to either do is you could start by the lightest or the darkest. So we could start by our darkest shade or our lightest shade. Now I personally do like working the lighter shades first, since I could work along with them and I could always go over them. While the darkest shade, it's harder to take it away if you do any mistakes or you do change your mind. So at best, I would give an advice to use the lightest one to start with. Now again, you do want to start with a shade and not the lowest one you have. Just go down by the shades you have. If you see one is a bit lower than the one you just used for the primary, go with that one. And then you go over with again with the lightest shade. Now it might seem that I didn't put much of a shade here, but in reality when you're face to face you see much better than the camera. And again, when you put another shade over it, it's going to look much better. It's going to blend with this different shade, which degrades together. If you put just straight up the other shade, it's going to look like it's just straight up been put on it, like a white on black. And that's not something you do want unless the drawing wants that. I will mention I've been using Prismacolors for this. You could use Strathmore. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can all buy them at OMLSL or on Amazon. I suggest Amazon for good deals. But this is pretty much the best quality you can get for crayons, for color crayons. They do break easily, I will warn you about that, and they are hard to use at first. It does feel like makeup, so when you do blend, it's gonna have a nice blend with it, but it takes a lot of practice to actually get used to it. Now what I'm doing right here is that I'm just putting up the color and I'm creating this pushing together. I twist it, I don't narrow it down, because if I do narrow it down, it creates these lines. As if I do little twirls, it nicely goes together. And if you use the lighter shade together, it creates this nice blend in between. And that's what you want to get. That's what I do for my drawings, and it's the best way of blending of my knowledge. For every part that you have that is light, use that. Now that I have the light part, I'm going to go with the darkest one, which is this one. But before I even go with this one, this is our main shade. This is going to be the other one, the next darker shade, and then we're going to go for our darkest one. Now, as you can see, these pencils do break a lot, and the mistake I did right here is I didn't check the crayon before I didn't put it on the paper. Sometimes I do use them beforehand with another drawing, and there will be a different color on it. So when I do put it straight onto the color, it will have this effect. So usually I would just use the other extra paper, slash around, and then right there the color comes off. But this time I didn't. Now we're gonna go for our darkest color. So for this time, like I said, the darker one is gonna be much harder to remove than a lighter one. Lighter one, you could blend it, you could change it, you could do whatever you want to it. But when it's dark, it's really hard to take it away, especially when you start working with black. Now the black lines I did use around it, they are just normal black ink pen, and I did my lining. I personally don't like doing that too much, depending on the drawings. But for this drawing, it did make sense, and it did fit well since it is kind of a cartoon, as I could say. It isn't completely a cartoon. It's a video game. What am I saying? I'm just gonna blend right here. Push any rigid. And we're gonna go back with our main base and work along the lines. Now obviously in one of my other drawings I do take much more time working on them, but for now we're just gonna go a little quick. Now that we have this part, we can work again this onto every part that's red, and once we got that, then we can work with the different shades. For now I'm gonna start going around. The best thing I will suggest at first as well is whatever white color you have on the drawing, do it first. If you're about to draw, let's say on his eye, and you have the white part here, I would draw it first. Since, like I said, drawing something lighter on something dark is never gonna show. It's really hard to do it. So mostly what I like to do is I like to put the white first, and then if I do have to do shades over it, which I will do it right now, I'll take a black and I'll just shade it in a bit, and from there on we could create this nice little blend there. But the thing is, once that is in there, I cannot recreate it white again. It is near impossible. It takes a lot of practice, because if you put too much black, it's gonna look bad. And if you put too much white, well, that's not a problem, since white could be blended much easier than the black one. Now again, we're gonna go back with our base and go right inside the red. Now my problem here is I'm not drawing my drawing table. I'm drawing on wood. And under it there's a lot of little stuff, and it's creating these little bumps inside, and my pencil break. And what it does is when you do draw, it creates little bumps, and if you try to draw over it, if you're using really cheap paper, it's gonna break. Right now I'm using, forgot the name, I'll link it to the bottom of the description, but the paper is nice paper, so it won't break, but it won't blend nicely neither. Then that's a problem. You don't want that happening when you're drawing. The last thing you want to do is having problems with the paper and you can't draw over it. Like any drinks, I would move it away from the drawing. Sounds simple, but I've done that mistake. Right here I'm just shading around what I need to. I don't feel the need that it's gonna that all needs shade, because it is a bit darker here. I have light and then you have the dark on top, right on top. And there you go, it breaks again. That's the problem with the Prismacolors, they break easily. And even when they sharpen, they break. So, just gonna go dark here. Now, I do have a lot of colors, but when I first started, I had 20 shades max of I had just 20 colors in general. What I would do is, I would use my black and my white as much as possible. The reason why I say that is because with black, I could just put it in here, and then use my shade, and make it darker. So the black will always make whatever shade you want darker, and the white will always make what shade you're doing lighter. Obviously it will not be exactly to the shades you do want, as here I could have the exact shades instead of 120 colors. So it does help having a lot more, but it doesn't mean it's impossible to create a shade you want. It just takes much more time. A bit or much, depends on the shades. And as you can tell, I created a darkness a little here. It's a shade. And right under it, we have a bit of light, so we're just gonna go over it. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna blend both of them with the base. So we have the blend. Now again, since I did use some black, I do feel there's some black on the pencil, I will sharpen it or I will line it so there's some more black into the lead itself. And then we go in. Now the base color is the color that's in between your darkest and your lightest, such as this one. It is not too dark, it is not too light. It is just the in-between of what it is. Some drawings or parts of a drawings do not have it, and they're a bit hard to work, so like I said, always work with your lightest shades if necessary. Never work with a darkest shade. I truly do not suggest to work just straight up on your darkest shade, because if you want to make something lower or a bit lighter, it will not work. Now again, we go with the darker shade. And I want to create some shadows. Since there is shadows here, it does continue over here. I'm just going very, very gentle with the pencil. I'm not going hard, so this doesn't create too much black that I don't want. And if I want to increase, I just add more again with the gentle stroke. Sound gay. Now again, I'm doing the circle rounding to create the shade, to blend it all together. And we're gonna go again with white where we do need it. Certain parts of the drawing I will add pure white. Like I said, it is lighter, so I could, but it will not create pure white color like I'm holding right now. It will just blend the shade I'm using. So, around the arms, like a bit light. Not too much, but a bit. So now we got the red in. It has nice shades. I personally don't like it as much. It does look bad. Be gentle, this is my first video tutorial. Kind of nervous. Now in every drawing you do have the three primary colors you will always use, which is red, blue, and yellow. Those are your three primaries. Some people might say that white and black are your colors as well, but they do not count as colors at all. They're not colors. Now that I'm done that area, I could go over again with my colors, the black outline. Now watch out, because when the Prismacolors are very similar to makeup. If you go over it, it's going to be very glossy, so you do not want to put your hand over it. You gotta let it dry, and then you can work on it again, if you do need feel to go over the colors. I feel satisfied with that area, somewhat. And right here. Nice and slowly. Feel confident with the lines. Do not sketch them out, they are straight lines. Now another thing, I do hate when the powder of the lead moves around, so it will go around on the end of my hand or around the drawing, which is not something you want. The same paper we used to find the shades we wanted, you can use it as a hand rester and it will not move anything. As long as there's nothing on the bottom, it will not push or blend anything. It will just go onto the paper. It will get dirtier on this paper, not this one. So you can move around and it won't have a problem. I'm gonna go around the eyes, like I said. Now again, you want to have the white, and there's a bit of a white dot inside. So we're gonna go to black. Just go in, go around the white, and you got it. Do the same with the other eye. And best thing you could do is also just do a circle where the white eye part of the eye is. I like to do that so I just don't get confused of how far I should go. But again, it's little techniques I do use. Not as useful. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend with the white to create this kind of gray shade inside. I did a mistake. No, Bob Ross would say that's a happy mistake. Luckily, I could do this, and I would not suggest to do it, which is going over my black. A very, very not nice thing to do, because then you create this, which is not what you want. No, I don't feel happy about the drawing itself so far. Honestly, I do not feel happy about the colors as it turns out, because I pretty much rushed it. When I like to take a bit more time with the shades. This is just a general way of doing it, and it's how I first started and how my drawings were starting. The more time I took with the shades, the more nicer the shades would take and it would look. The quicker you did it, the more it would look rough. Now again, this looks rough, very rough, and the problem under the table I had some stuff that were popping in, creating these ridges, and it creates this lining inside. On pictures you won't see it, but face to face you will see it. Maybe on the black it might show up on the camera. This is my first tutorial. I hope I can make new ones and more and more. I get very nervous, and let me know how I did and if you want to see more. Thank you.